Ladies and gentlemen, boy, oh boy, I can't believe my eyes. I can't believe my ears. The truth about FEMA is coming out, and Trump is already elected president. I can't wait for a full-blown investigation to come out. We have the actual woman coming out and speaking on behalf of FEMA that apparently was fired. Now, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to play a clip here in just coming seconds. And then I'm also going to play what the media was saying about the story, how they were saying this is a fake story. Also, big news coming out. Big cuts are coming for MSNBC. Big cuts are also coming for CNN. Why? Why is this happening? Because of stories like this. They told you to ignore this story. They told you that this story was fake, but guess what? It's real. And the person that they fired on top of this is speaking out. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to smash the like button. Let me know where you guys are watching from. We are just, I don't know how many days, a week removed from the election, and we have so many things happening, so many things revealing itself. So once again, please smash the like button. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about FEMA, man. This FEMA stuff, you guys are right about FEMA. I mean, look, we've been talking about FEMA and they being corrupt, trying to avoid Trump supporters not going and attending Trump supporters' homes. I mean, that's crazy. And a lot of people said it wasn't real, including the mainstream media. Well, let's take a listen.
Last week's election exposed how liberal media lied to your face to prop up Kamala, and now the left's been exposed again. Last month, after FEMA botched its Hurricane Helene response, Democrats got on their soapbox and blasted everybody who criticized the agency. Remember? Turns out the only ones politicizing the hurricane was FEMA, and that misinformation the left warned you about was true. According to a bombshell report by the Daily Wire, a FEMA manager told relief workers in Florida to not help homes with Trump signs. Internal messages obtained by the Daily Wire shows the list of rules for FEMA canvassers. Rule number 2, avoid homes advertising Trump. So after FEMA confirmed that the messages were real, Director Deanne Criswell fired the employee and called her messages reprehensible. In response, the fired FEMA manager told Primetime that this wasn't an isolated incident, and quote, FEMA has made me a patsy.
So oh my God, this is crazy. So it was all confirmed, but the woman is coming out and saying that, yeah, they're blaming me for this, but really I was told by FEMA to avoid Trump supporters' homes. Watch this. If you don't believe me, just watch this. She went on the Roland Martin show, and here's what she had to say about it.
Stating that I was fired. They all alleged that these actions were made on my own recognizances and that it was for my own political advances. However, if you look at the record, there is what we call a community trend. And unfortunately, it just so happened that the political hostility that was encountered by my team, and I was on 2 different teams during this deployment, they just so happened to have the Trump campaign signage. FEMA always preaches avoidance first and then de-escalation. So this is not isolated. This is a colossal event of avoidance, not just in the state of Florida, but you will find avoidance in the Carolinas. Senior leadership will lie to you and tell you that they do not know. But if you ask the DSA crew leads and specialists what they are experiencing in the field, they will tell you. Demand for FEMA to give you those incident reports, stating that.
So she's saying that FEMA, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wild story. So she's saying that it was all FEMA. FEMA was telling her that we should be avoiding. Just imagine how big of a story this would be for the mainstream media, because the mainstream media told you to ignore this story. I'm going to show you what I mean by that, because they literally ran a campaign that said that this story was fake, that Donald Trump was lying about the fact that FEMA was telling their managers and their workers to avoid Trump supporters and Trump supporter signs. I'm just imagining this all the way around. Just imagine if this was in New York City and FEMA told you to avoid the Bronx because it's hostile over there and there's a lot of crime over there. There's a lot of homelessness. There's a migrant crisis, and they told you to avoid. How big would that have been? Well, this needs to be just as big as that, because if they told you to avoid a neighborhood because of crime, trust me, the media would be losing their mind. But in fact, they told you to avoid Trump supporters' homes Well, because they're Trump supporters and they're white. That's literally what's coming out of this. And that's what she's saying. She's saying, wait a minute, they're trying to blame me, but they're the ones that told me and everybody else to avoid these houses during a disaster. During a disaster. And take a look at what the mainstream media was doing behind this. This is why they're losing. Look, news just came out today, and we're going to talk about that they're going to start making cuts. The mainstream media is losing money. Morning Joe just got their ratings back. They're terrible, right? YouTubers as well. Their ratings are terrible. Their audience is leaving them. This is why.
Politicizing a natural disaster, what FEMA is warning about.
The only person making an accusation that people are not getting what they've asked for is Trump, falsely claiming that the administration is withholding resources because of political affiliation. That is just not true.
Hurricane Milton victims in Florida may have been denied help for being Trump supporters. A FEMA official has now been fired for telling relief workers to bypass homes with Trump vans campaign signs.
They then turn around and go, see, FEMA's not coming to help you because it's a Republican area. And then people go, see, no, not see. You've got to see for the first time in your life, if you're MAGA, Donald Trump is a con man using you as his mark. Donald Trump.
Wow. Look at all these people lying straight to your face. You want to know why you're losing views? You want to know why people think a certain way? You want to know why so many people took their life after the election? It's because of people like this. This is crazy. They're literally blaming it all on Trump after Trump said, yo, this story is real. They're literally denying people assistance, excuse me. They're denying you assistance because of your political beliefs. And then the mainstream media runs with the story and says, no, Donald Trump is the bad guy. Meanwhile, the woman that was fired just got on camera and said, yeah, it's true. They said I was fired, but you should request all FEMA transcripts, all FEMA text messages, because FEMA was behind it. And they told me to do it. So this is getting crazy. This is getting crazy. Once again, just keep listening to these people.
Trump's a ridiculous, pathetic liar.
Well, the Federal Emergency Management Agency is facing major backlash after confirming reports that a supervisor ordered disaster relief workers to avoid homes with Trump yard signs.
What would you say to people propagating misinformation about the emergency response to these storms?
Stop politicizing FEMA.
Elon Musk is hopping about the country, spewing and tweeting political falsehoods and attacking FEMA while claiming his desire to help the hurricane victims with free Starlink access to the internet.
Donald Trump is literally putting lives at risk right now. If you can't trust FEMA and trust basic weather reports, for example, which he's...
You guys are all full of shit. Excuse my language. You guys are all full of shit. You want to know why you've lost all credibility with the United States of America, Americans? You want to know why Trump won in the way that he won? It's because of people like this. Look at their language. They're saying that Trump is putting people at risk because of the fact that he's pointing out that, and Elon Musk, by the way, they're pointing out that, yo, because of your political beliefs, you're not getting the help you need during a disaster. A disaster. And once again, you don't see Trump supporters taking the streets. You don't see them protesting because they elected what they did. They decided what they decided to do, even though they tried to paint, you know, because January 6th, that's a whole nother conversation as far as the feds, the FBI, and all this crazy stuff that happened during that day. But this right here showed you exactly why the United States of America voted the way they voted. Look at their language. Look at the way they're talking to you. They're trying to tell you that, no, this story is false. In fact, Elon Musk is a liar. Trump is a liar. And they're putting you at risk. They're putting FEMA workers at risk. But it gets crazier. Let's go to our friend here, Black Conservative Perspective. Let's take a listen to this.
Don't go.
So explain.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, I cannot play the whole interview, but I want you guys to understand the argument that this woman is making, okay? The argument that she's making is that, well, we weren't really politically discriminating against Trump supporters, although we were, right? But the reason why we were doing it is because we were facing political hostility, aka Trump supporters tend to say mean things to us, okay? So when we come and we try to get, you know, Trump supporters to sign
whatever paperwork they have or whatever, they try to interact with Trump supporters. They say mean things to us because they don't like FEMA. They don't like how we have handled things before in the past. So our workers are facing some hostility from Trump supporters. And that has become a trend. And because that has become a trend, we now essentially say, hey, you know what? Let's just avoid yards or houses with Trump signs, right? Let's just avoid that because Trump supporters tend to be hostile towards us, right? They say mean things to us. That's essentially her argument. And she's saying that, well, we did that for safety reasons. And my management knew about this, right? They all knew that this was commonplace, that we tend to avoid houses with Trump signs because of hostility. And she is upset about being fired for this because, again, she claims that the organization as a whole, FEMA, supported this practice and actually encouraged them to do that, again, for safety reasons. And she's just been thrown under the bus because she got caught, right? Because the text messages got leaked to the public. And now FEMA is trying to save face because they know that Trump is coming in to office and that Trump is going to retaliate against the institution, the organization, for political discrimination, when it wasn't really political discrimination. They were just trying to keep themselves safe due to the fact that Trump supporters tend to be hostile, right? That's her argument. Okay, I want to clearly lay it out because that's what she said in the interview. In fact, I want to go ahead and play a clip of Roland Martin giving an example of kind of how this worked.
That if your team is uncomfortable and they do not feel safe, do not go to those homes. Go and canvass the other homes. Your job is to keep these people safe. They need to be able to go back home safe.
Okay, so now I have to ask this because, again, I use the example, 20 homes on the street. 8 of the homes have Trump signs, and they face hostility from three of those homes, which means there are 17 homes left.
Right.
So
we will canvass the ones that do not have the community trend with the Trump campaign's signage and let it go. If any of those residents come outside that have the Trump campaign signage and they say, hey, I want to register, we'll welcome them arms. We will let you register. Great, wonderful. But we will not subject our people to continuous verbal abuse or hostile encounters.
So
that's not what we do.
That's what I need to know. So, but again, though, this is what I'm trying to understand here. If there are 20 homes on the street, 8 have Trump signs, and you
bro, Roland, is really not that hard to figure out. You turd, no neck having. It's not that hard to figure out what they just did and what you're talking about. They literally avoided Trump supporters' homes during a disaster when you're supposed to be united as FEMA, right? This is what you do. FEMA comes in, they help during a disaster, right? We got people's lives at risk. It's not that hard to figure out what they did. And what they did was they avoided Trump supporters' homes that had Trump supporter flags or a Trump supporter sign during an election, during election season. So what are we going to do? We're going to avoid Harris wall signs as well? No, we're not, because we are Harris wall supporters, being that FEMA. So if you don't think that this is crazy, you think that you really believe that Trump supporters are being hostile during a hurricane disaster where people lost their homes. It's not that hard to figure out, Roland. It's a catastrophic event. People are dying. People need help. And you guys are politicizing this. And then the media is going and saying that Trump is politicizing this. Yo, is it really that hard to figure out?
Hostility from 3. How do you then, and if you say, I'm moving on from this street, what happens to the other 17 homes on that street?
So the ones that do not have the trend, you got to watch what you're saying, because you're saying the ones without the Trump campaign signage. If those are the ones that we have experienced the consistent hostility from, then those are the ones that we're going to avoid. Our equity in DSA is canvassing and registering, so we're going to take care of those other homes on the street, but we're going to avoid the ones that meet the community trend of political hostility, and they just so happen to have campaign signages in their front yard.
So there are examples as well
Yes, sir.
of individuals where there were no Trump signs, there were no Harris Biden signs, there are no signs at all, and your teams face hostility, and y'all made the exact same decision to move on.
Yes, sir.
So when you look at how Republicans and MAGA is trying to play this as, she skipped the Trump folk, how do you respond to that?
I respond to it in the same fashion that I'm going to respond to you now. If you greet any of our team members with hostility or aggression, we will de-escalate and disengage and move on. We cannot take that risk to deal with that type of behavior.
Yeah, so you see, now you heard that. Now, clearly, Roly-Poly Martin here is trying to spin this interview, her responses as some type of, see, this is not political discrimination. She was just trying to protect her workers. And if there was a Harris wall sign, if there was no sign at all, they would do the exact same thing. And it's like, no, Roland, that's not what she said. And that's not what she outlined. It was not the exact same thing. What she made clear was that based off of her experience, she's saying that people with Trump signs tended to be more hostile than people with Harris wall signs or no signs at all. Now, if anybody showed hostility, then they decided not to engage. However, when it came to the Trump signs, they decided to make it a so-called trend to justify skipping all Trump supporters. Anybody that clearly was a Trump supporter, they would skip. Now, she didn't say that they established that trend with people who don't have yard signs or who have Harris wall signs. That's not what she said. She just said that anybody that shows them hostility, they avoid. However, the difference, okay, and again, this is why this is overt political discrimination. She is essentially ratting on herself and FEMA as a whole, right? That's what she's doing. She thinks that she's clearing her name, but she's really not. What she admitted is that unlike with the Harris wall signs or the no yard signs at all, they preemptively skip people with Trump signs, okay? Regardless of whether or not they were hostile towards them, they say, well, they have a Trump sign. We think it's a good chance they're going to be hostile, so therefore we're just not going to engage. And it's like, no, you can't do that, right? That is 100% unacceptable. First and foremost, I'm not saying that they don't face hostility when trying to engage some people who may be Trump supporters, right? I'm not saying that doesn't happen. However, that does not justify skipping everybody who has a Trump sign in their yard. That is not okay. That is political discrimination. It doesn't matter if there's a so-called trend or you feel like Trump supporters tend to be hostile. That doesn't matter because every Trump supporter is not hostile. There are Trump supporters out there that do want to aid, that do want to help, that need to help. And you should not be skipping people based off political affiliation.
Yeah, so that's what it all comes down to. Political affiliation. They skipped these homes and they called Donald Trump and Elon Musk enemies. Just want you to take a look. I want to take one more look at this real quick.
Which he's questioned in the past.
Elon Musk, the richest man in the world and top Trump ally, has also pushed lies about the hurricane to his millions of followers on the social media platform he owns.
Now, unfortunately, tragically, quite frankly, it is politicized.
The only person who is politicizing this is Donald Trump. He's the one guy doing it.
Really? So if you're a liberal and you're on the fence and you're thinking the same thing that millions of Americans are thinking, hey guys, I did vote for Kamala and Tim Walz, but I'm on the fence. I don't believe these people anymore. Well, there you have it. This is more proof that the media is on their side. They're constantly going to take their side. One of the main reasons why I revolted against all of this is because of war, because of inflation, because of national security, because I just don't think that the other side is serious. And this is also one of the main reasons, the media being on the side of Democrats consistently. They're not journalists. They're just Democrat shills. And be careful, you might become one because of identity politics. I see it on the right as well. Trust me, I see it. The right has the woke. The left has the woke. Right? Amplifying bullshit. So that's why a lot of people voted against this. And now all the credibility from these folks has already been taken away. This is one of the main reasons why when you look up, just go look up MSNBC, look up CNN. And the first thing that'll pop up is, oh, they're making cuts. They're making cuts. They're losing money. They're losing viewership. After the election, it's not looking good. Democrats are checking out. They're clocking out. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with these people that told them that there was going to be a close race, that told them that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy. All of a sudden, the same guy that they've been telling you was a threat to democracy is meeting with the president of the United States tomorrow. Tomorrow, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are going to be meeting together. But if he was a threat to democracy, I wouldn't be. If he was Hitler, why would I meet with this guy? Because they're not serious. They were never serious. They're just shills that work for the Democratic Party, or at least the narratives. They amplify BS. This is who they are. And this is why Latino men and many black men, white men, men as a whole decided to say, well, we're not dealing with this. We kind of don't want this. This platform right here is not good for us. And so did women. And say no to Rubio. That's another thing we got to talk about. Say no to Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, you know the first thing he did? I'm gonna shift gears here, and then I'm gonna end this live stream. Make sure to smash the like button. But yeah, MSNBC is for sale. So is CNN. Yeah, Comcast is about to sell MSNBC because of Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow. But say no to Marco Rubio. Say no to the Warhawks and the warmongers. I heard he was going to become like Secretary of State. Bro, you know the first thing he did when he went on the news? I'm just going to play this clip real quick. And I know this has nothing to do with this, but I just want to show you guys before everybody starts to leave. Before you leave, I just want to show you this real quick. This is why you say no to people like Marco Rubio. Because I just want you guys to see what I mean.
To do with an existential.
Look at this. The first thing he wants to do is go to war with Iran. Listen to this creep. I'm sorry. I don't mean to call this guy a creep. I think this guy is a good person. I really do. I like Marco Rubio and some things that he does. But this is why you say no to people like him. This is the first thing he does when he goes on Fox News. Take a listen.
Us to do more to show its support for Israel. Iran is constantly looking to
listen to the first thing that this guy does.
Also learned who he hopes to lead the State Department. Trump expected to ask Florida Senator Marco Rubio to be his Secretary of State. Rubio is currently the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He's also in Foreign Affairs. He's received a lot of attention in recent months as he's called for the U.S. to do more to show its support for Israel. Iran is constantly looking to hurt Israel. They seek to drive America out of the region and then destroy Israel. This is a group that wants to destroy Israel. Hamas exists to destroy.
Can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I just want to make sure because I'm about to go off. I'm about to go off. You guys can hear me? We're good? Okay, you guys can hear me. The first thing he does when he gets on Fox News is say that we need to protect Israel, not our borders, not get out of the war in Ukraine, not make good relationships with or bring the heat down everywhere, or not end the war with Iran, the proxy war that we have with Iran. It's not ending the wars. It's just protecting Israel. All these people are Israel shields, and I keep telling you guys that. As much as Israel is spoken about in the Bible, I get it. We're Christians. I get it. But bro, that is a whole foreign nation with a foreign government, and we are not. I serve Jesus Christ. I don't serve the United States of Israel. I serve Jesus Christ. I do not serve the United States of Israel. The first thing this guy does is says we need to go to war with Iran. I told you guys, neocons want to go to war with Iran. That is the first thing they want. And they want to go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel instead of finding peace in the Middle East. So you mean to tell me that there wasn't peace when Trump was in office? Can we get back to that? Why do we have to go to war with Iran? All of a sudden, Iran is trying to assassinate Donald Trump left and right. Come on. We're not stupid. We see what's going on here. I'm sorry. As a Christian, say no to war specifically. That now that Donald Trump is the president-elect, let's go back to 2017-18. When Iran was in its place, Israel was in its place, and Israel listened to the United States. We don't listen to Israel. But unfortunately for all these people, they all listen to Israel. And the first thing he does is he gets on camera and starts to talk about Israel. I want to hear something about the United States of America. And call me stupid all you want, but you are a damn idiot and warmonger if you think that we need to be fighting on behalf of Israel. Israel is a government. The land is a whole different place, but Israel and the government, you know, Netanyahu reminds me of George Bush. This guy, he doesn't follow rules. He just starts bombing the shit out of places. Doesn't that sound familiar? So wake up to this. Donald Trump is picking people that are AIPAC bought, American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Be careful with that, because what that does is that they're getting paid to represent another nation instead of the United States of America. And I'm sorry to you. We can defend Israel. We can stand with Israel. But, bro, we are not fighting any wars for anybody else. I'm sorry. I'm not for that. I'm sorry. And if you are here and you think and you're buying these stories, because once again, I thought you guys were awake, some of you, if you're here buying these stories that Iran is trying to assassinate Donald Trump, if you're buying that, if you're buying what they're selling you, then, bro, we got a lot of rethinking to do about this election, because that is the number one thing people like Marco Rubio, people like Elise Stefanik, and a whole bunch of these folks that take a whole bunch of money from American Israel Public Affairs Committee, what the hell do you think they're going to say? What do you think they're going to do? If they have a chance to go against Iran because of Israel, they're going to do it. We don't want any war. We want America first policies. We want to keep Israel in check. We want to keep their enemies in check. We want to keep the world in check. We don't want any war. So I really hope that you guys are not buying these stories. All of a sudden now we got to go to war with Iran because Donald Trump is president. I'm sorry. Good luck with that one. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to smash the like button. Yeah, we got to save the children. We got to figure out what's going on with the border, how many people are in here. We really got to, you know, safe up our national security. But we can't. The first thing this guy does, he gets on camera, and the first thing he does is say, we got to protect Israel and we got to handle Iran. We got to go to war. That's the first thing you say. And I get it. I trust Trump to not want to start war. That's the reason why I voted for him. But we don't need people around him that are constantly telling him, yo, we got to go to war with Iran. Because what did Trump do with Iran? He played chess. He murdered Soleimani. And guess what? Iran, go back. They can't have a nuclear weapon. That's how we got to handle them. We don't need to handle them by going to war for another country. Sorry. It's not that hard to figure out. All right, guys. Look, and I get it, bro. You can stand for Israel, bro. I understand. I get it. It's just the first thing you say is that. That's alarming. Beep, 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 beep. Alarming. And if you don't believe me, if you don't believe what I'm saying, that it's all about the money, and these people usually don't mean it, right? We judge folks for taking money from the Kamala Harris campaign. We judge folks for taking money from the Kamala Harris campaign. So we should be able to judge people that take money from another country. Marco Rubio took $1 million from pro-Israel lobby, AIPAC, NORPAC, U.S. Israel PAC. I'm not okay with this. I don't care. I'm sorry, but they're all taking money from AIPAC. Just something that really doesn't sit right with me. I love Israel. I would love to visit Israel one day. That is where my Lord and Savior walked. That is where, unfortunately, he sacrificed. Well, very fortunately, because he sacrificed for all of us. You know, but it's still just another foreign government. And I think people that are Christian forget that we got to be very careful with people and why they want to go to war. And just look at who they're taking money from and why they're saying certain things. You want to know why he got on television and the first thing he said was Israel, we got to protect Israel. Well, he took $1 million from them, from a lobbying group, pro-Israel lobbying group. And the first thing he does when he gets on camera is he says that, yeah, well, I don't think it's genuine. You're taking $1 million from them. I'm pretty sure I know why. You know, so that's just an observation to why I say no to him. maybe you might say yeah to him becoming Secretary of State. Once again, Charlie Kirk went on Patrick Bet-David and said if Donald Trump doesn't post it, then it's not real. There's a lot of rumors coming around that Donald Trump is picking this person and that person. Donald Trump hasn't even picked this guy officially yet. I could be wrong. He's probably going to pick him later today, but I know this is a hard rumor, and I know people are pushing for this, but I wouldn't push for this. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't. All right. I love you guys. Israel is God's chosen people. Are we talking about the government? Is it God's chosen government? Come on. Again, yeah, sure. Israel's God's chosen people. But I don't think God chose that government. And I don't think God chose Netanyahu. Right? Like, I'm sorry. I have a big problem with that. So this guy is like Lindsey Graham. This guy is Liz Cheney. This guy has no solutions for wars. He just wants to go to them. Right? Like, am I wrong? I didn't know God chose Netanyahu. Last time I checked, have they accepted, I just think of, have they accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior? I'm not sure about that one. So I trust Trump to get this done, but I personally have my opinions as well. And we're not going to agree with everything that comes out. And I, say no to Rubio. And hopefully he hears us out. Tulsi Gabbard is perfect for this role. Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State. Like, I think he picked the Secretary of State already. I think it was Stephen Miller. No, Secretary of. All right, we gotta go through a whole list of it, but I know that this is Secretary of State role. I would much rather see Tulsi Gabbard. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that has served in our military. So that's just my, this is my opinion. We can all agree to disagree on this, but I much rather see Tulsi Gabbard in a position like this than see a warmonger. I'll see you guys on the next one.